Hello team, I hope you are all well. Today it is time to do our April TBR using my Bookopoly board. This is Steph Loves Bookopoly, and if you don't know what this is essentially a copycat of Becca's Bookopoly. I will leave a link to Becca in the description box down below if you want to go and check her out, but with a little bit of a twist. And I've been playing this for a hot minute now. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description box down below as well if you want to go and check it out. Go back and have a butcher's, but I'm very excited. Now in the month of April I am taking part in three readathons. So one of them I'm not going to do a TBR for now. I'll do one again later on in the month because it is a small readathon, and that is the Springo Flingween. I can't remember what it's called, but it's hosted by Olivia and Gabby. I will link both of them in the description box down below, but I'm really excited about it, and it's just like a week-long one, so I am hyped for that one. And then the other two that I'm taking part in are month-long ones. The first one is Realmathon, which is hosted by Cassidy, and I am going to be on Team Ascana, which is Jade and Beck's team, which means that I should be focusing on like polar fantasies quite a bit, which I'm excited about because I feel like I didn't manage to get to all the polar fantasies I kind of really wanted to read during Polathon in February, so I get a second chance now, and I'm really hyped about that because I tend to keep them and save them for Polathon but then collect more throughout the year, and then I don't get a chance to read them all, so getting a second opportunity here. So I am excited about this readathon. And then the second one is the magical readathon hosted by G from Book Roast, and I am so hyped about this one. I'm really looking forward to it. I love the magical readathon. I've been taking part in it since about 2018 and I absolutely love it. I love how it's like progressed and gotten to the point that it's at now. G's mind works in magical ways and I absolutely adore it, so very excited to be taking part in this one as well. I will leave links to everybody I've mentioned down below. Go check them out because they're all fantastic. So what I'll do is we'll do our rolls and then I will go through what will count. As far as Realmathon's concerned, there are like a million prompts, so it'll basically be a case of just seeing what fits where. The only prompts that I really want to try and get nailed today is a Cassidy favourite, and then for the magical readathon I'll go through at the end exactly what I'm reading for that one. So without further ado, let's get into roll number one. Okay, last time we ended on adult fantasy here, so roll number one is a double to start off with, and we got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A middle grade. So we pop a piece of pie in there, and we also go for the teapot, and we pull out something from here for our first double. Let's go for this one. Can I get in? Oh, we have continuation station, continue a series. Nice. So roll number one was a double. Who is surprised? But for our first prompt we had middle grade, and for this one I'm going to go for Shadowgast by Thomas Taylor. This is the third book but not the final book in the Aerion Sea series, and I absolutely love the Aerion Sea series. We're following Herbie Lemon and also Parma Violet and Violet Parma. It's obviously a take on Parma Violets, which I absolutely love. In the first book, Herbie works in a hotel at the Lost and Found area, and Violet ends up finding herself in there one day. She's lost her parents, I think, if I remember correctly, and he's trying to help her out. So they just end up going on different adventures, but also like within Aerion Sea, but also there ends up being like a monster or like a folklore thing happen as well. So really enjoyed the first two in this series, Malamander and also Gargantus. I really enjoyed them, so I am looking forward to reading this one. I just didn't get a chance to pick it up during the last Believathon last year, so I really want to pick this one up and I'm very excited about it. So, and it will get me to a point where I'm up to date with the series as well, so it's almost like I'm still taking part in Final Book Support Group, if you like. So yeah, Shadowgast for the first book. And then because I rolled a double, I did have to pull from my teapot, and I ended up pulling Continuation Station, which is to continue a series. And I thought I would stick with the theme of middle grade with this one, and I'm going to go for Starfell, Willow Moss and the Forgotten Tale by Dominique Valente. This is the second in the Starfell series. I loved the first one. It was so good. So I'm really excited to continue on with the series. I kind of want to binge it. I am hoping actually to kind of finish the series in April. We'll see. I say finish it, but get up to date with it. Book 4 just recently came out, so I am kind of hoping that that could be a thing I do. But yeah, Starfell, Willow Moss and the Forgotten Tale. Basically this is following Willow Moss, who in the first one a day went missing, Tuesday. The whole day of Tuesday went missing, and Willow had to find it. Basically she is a young witch with the powers to find anything. Her sisters and family have like what she thinks are much better powers, but she has the power to find anything, and she was looking for the day Tuesday in the first one. And in this one, her magic once helped to save the world, but now it's misbehaving. So I'm excited to see what happens in this one. And also these books under the dust jacket are absolutely stunning, and I'm obsessed with them, which is why I had to get the hardcovers. So yeah, I'm going to read this one for Continuation Station. Okay, roll number 2 is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A graphic novel or a manga. And a piece of pie in there. Roll number 2 is for a graphic novel or manga, and for this one we're going to stick with the middle grade theme because why not. I'm going to go for Lumberjanes. I think it's volume 4 I'm up to. I'll show a picture of the cover here for whichever one it is. If it's not volume 4, I'll show the number here. But Lumberjanes follows a bunch of young girls who basically go to a summer camp, and they end up finding themselves in all kinds of trouble every single time they go. I love it. It is middle grade, it is queer, it's fantastic. I just find it a really good palette cleanser, and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. So I would like to read a couple volumes of this, I think, in April. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with it, so I'm going to read that one. Roll number 3 is a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A sci-fi. And a piece of pie in there. The third roll brought us a sci-fi, and for this one I am going to go for To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, which is a Tor novella. I previously DNF'd A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet because I got so freaking bored, but I recently just read A Sign for the Wild Bill by Becky Chambers, which is another novella, and absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I wasn't expecting to at all. I will link the video here if you want to go and check that out, because or here, whichever one. I haven't done that in a hot minute, whichever way around it is, because I read it during Does Maddie Know My Reading Tastes, and I honestly thought I was going to hate that book because I've previously DNF'd Becky Chambers. So but I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, so I thought I would give another one of her novellas a go. I honestly thought this was part of the series of A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet because it's very similar looking, but apparently not. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Don't really know much about it. It's to do with instead of terraforming planets to sustain human life, explorers of the galaxy transform themselves. So it does sound really interesting, and I am looking forward to it. So yeah, hoping to read this one in April. Roll number 4 is another double, another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. An adult fantasy. A piece of pie, and let's give this another bash. Oh, let's go for this one. Pop that one back in there. What do we have? Oh, nice. We have Murder on the Express. Read a thriller. Nice. Then we got another double, and our first prompt was for an adult fantasy, and I thought I would take this opportunity to get a Cassidy favourite on here right now because I know that she loves adult fantasies. So I went through her favourites list, and she has like a whole bunch of them. I'll try and show it here if I remember to do so, but I have read a lot of them. I think like The Poppy Wars on there, and I can't remember what else is on there, but I think like across the bottom row I'm fairly certain I've read all of those, and I'm fairly certain I've read most of them across the top as well. There's like maybe one or two that I haven't touched, but I've not really got any interest in doing so. But across the middle row I haven't touched any of them. We had Malice, we had, was it Rage of Dragons or Runicate? Rage of Dragons, and we also had the Black Coast. And I ended up messaging Cassidy and asking her what she would recommend me. So she ended up saying The Black Coast by Mike Brooks, and I have only picked this up because of Cassidy, so I'm really excited to give this one a read. This is one of her favourites. On the back it says War Dragons, Fearsome Raiders, a demonic warlord on the rise. So that's all I really need to know. It's obviously going to be very high fantasy and also politically driven, standard for a Cassidy favourite, but I'm very excited about reading this one. A little bit nervous because I haven't been doing very well with adult fantasy recently, but I am looking forward to it. I think this could be maybe like a breath of fresh air a little bit, so we'll see, but I'm very excited about getting this one on my TBR. And then I did have to go back to the pot because it was a double, and in this one we ended up with Murder on the Express to pick up a thriller. So I am going to pick up for this one Finlay Donovan is Killing It. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, more so recently, but I think the hype has come back around again because the second one's just recently come out. So I'm really excited about reading this one. I know that Gabby has loved this one, and I know that Olivia's loved this one, and I know that Riley Marie's also loved this one. I've seen so many people reading this one. I know Kayla loved it as well, so I am really looking forward to this one. And this is following a woman, single woman, Finlay Donovan, who basically is sitting with her literary agent in a cafe I think one day, and they're discussing her book but with no context of the fact that it's a book. And I assume it's about like a female kind of like, I don't want to say assassin, but like woman who, you know, does these jobs where she goes around killing people, and a woman overhears her and thinks that Finlay is the person that's doing this, and basically leaves her a note, I think with some cash, and is like, can you sort my husband out? And I think it just goes from there, and it sounds brilliant, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna pick this one up. I'm really hyped about it. Okay, roll number 5 is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A romance and a piece of pie in there. Roll number 5 brought us a romance, and for this one I'm going to go for Well Met by Jen DeLuca. I don't know what it is about this book, but it's just calling to me at the moment. I've heard nothing but good things, and I think when I hauled this, I actually said in the haul that I wasn't sure whether or not this would be up my street because it features a Renaissance fair, which isn't really a thing for me. It's not something I'm into at all. I don't know a great deal about them, but it's not something I'm into. But since I mentioned that in that video, a lot of people have said that they're not into Renaissance fairs either, but this was a fantastic romance and the whole series is great. So I'm really excited about this one, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's following 2 different people who work at the fair. It says a laugh out loud romantic comedy debut where a little flirtation between sworn enemies proves that all is fair in love and war. So we'll see. This summer was only supposed to be a pit stop for Emily, but now she can't shake the fantasy of calling Willow Creek and Simon home. Ooh, fancy. So I am looking forward to this one also. And the third and final roll is a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Community shelf. Let's see what we have. Okay. A subscription box book. Okay, okay. And a piece of pie in there. And then for our 6th and final roll, we ended up with a community shelf card, and on this one we had subscription box book, which is I thought I'd said that the wrong way around, which is great because I do need to focus on these a little bit more, and I'm actually going to go for one that I'm already partway through and I've been meaning to finish and just haven't. Now I know this is cheating a little bit, but it forces me to pick it up and finish it off. So I'm going to go for The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I've been meaning to finish this for ages. I was really enjoying it. I think life just hit me really hard last year, and I just ended up putting it down, not finishing it off. I am 249 pages in, so I don't have a long way to go. Look at how bad those sprayed edges have faded because it was in my TBR cart for so long. I'm devastated. Keep your sprayed edges covered. Just protect them a little bit better than I did. But yeah, so I want to finish this one off. This is a fantasy. It came in Fairy Loot box. So we're following 17-year-old Kiva, who ends up in a prison. She's been there for a really long time, for the last 10 years, and she's worked as a prison healer, and she is kept to like hope basically from messages from family that they're going to come and rescue her. And then one day this guy turns up and she ends up helping him out because she's the healer, and he's in big trouble. And then a queen ends up on a trial, and Kiva ends up doing the trial for her because the queen can't do it. The queen's like a traitor or something. And I think it all kind of comes to a head, and I'm not sure what happens towards the end of this one, but there is a second one called The Gilded Cage, and I know there's a third one coming out. I think that's the end of the trilogy. So it's nice actually to be picking this one up, because I can probably pick the second one up at some point pretty soon, and then ready for the third one to come out. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, the prison healer, I'm hoping to finish this one off as well. So on that basis, this is what my TBR looks like for April, which isn't too bad, to be fair. I mean, it's a little intimidating, but it's not too bad. A lot of these are middle grade. Well, 2 of them, 3 including the graphic novel, is middle grade. We've got a romance, a thriller, a couple fantasies, and a sci-fi. I've got a really nice mix actually. I'm really happy with it. So I am looking forward to this one. It's like a really nice stack as well. Really pretty. So as far as the magical readathon is concerned, I am an Iltarian and I live in Dark Meadow, and I'm a wildling. All of this was obviously part of the readathon last year, where it was like the intro, and then during the mini magical readathon this month in March, I got the quarterstaff, and I also have an animal familiar of dragon, and I am in the Order of the Crescent. So for my job this time round, for my calling, I am going to go for a mind mender. If I was to be able to choose my actual physical career today, I would probably try and do something like a therapist or a counsellor or something similar. So I love helping people out and things like that. So mind mender's pretty cool. I was going to try and go for the Crescent, Order of the Crescent special one, but it seemed quite intimidating, so maybe not. I don't know. If I can get books to fit some of the other subjects, then I may try and do so, and then leave myself a little bit open until August for the second round, but we'll see. But for now, I'm going for Mindbender. On that basis, I have 5 prompts and subjects that I need to do. So the first one is for alchemy, and I need to read a book featuring a romance. So for this one, I'm going to go for Well Met by Jen DeLuca. I may pick up other romances throughout the month, but for the time being, we're going to go with this one because it's already on my TBR. Then we have spells and incantations, and for this one you have to read short stories / essays. So I am going to add another book to my TBR, and I'm going to go for Nordic Tales, which is folk tales from Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland and Denmark. And this is a collection of short stories that Jade was reading during Polathon, and I really want to get to it very, very soon. So I'm very excited about reading this one. We've got East of the Sun, West of the Moon as well, and this is one of the reasons why I want to read it, because I do want to pick up East of the Sun, West of the Moon, the one that Jade was reading during Polathon, but I don't know the original tale. So this is the one that I am going to pick up for that. It is a collection of short stories, and it's polar fantasy as well. So it means that I do get a polar fantasy definitely on my TBR 100%, which I haven't done so far. So I'm excited about picking this one up. Then I have Sonics and Divination, which is a book set in the future. So for this one, I'm going to go for To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This is set in at the turn of the 22nd century. So it is set in the future. It's a sci-fi. It's already on my TBR. I don't need to explain it to you again. So this is the one I'm going to pick for that. Then we have Restoration, and for this one I have to read a book featuring a healer. Naturally, I'm going to pick up The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I'm really, again, looking forward to finishing this one off. I know it's cheating a little bit because I'm already partway through, but still, you know, it's got a book featuring a healer. My other option for this one was Dating Dr. Dill, which I've pre-ordered and I am hoping to pick up in April anyway. So even if it's deemed cheating because I'm already over halfway through the book, Dating Dr. Dill should cover it as well. So thought I would just mention that here. But yeah, The Prison Healer. And then the last one is Demonology, and that is a book with the word shadow in the title. And for this one, Shadowgast by Thomas Taylor. Again, already explained this one to you. So yeah. Okay, so now we have to do my Patreon pick. So this one is a whole bunch of books that have been recommended to me by my patrons, and I get to pick a book out. So let's do that. I do need to get some more. What is this? Beyond a Darkened Shore by Ratbag. She literally put this in there last night. Let me get it. You just said Beyond a Darkened Shore by Ratbag, didn't I? I meant from Ratbag. This one is by Jessica Leek, and this is a book that I have picked up because of Jade. I don't know much about it, but it sounds really, really interesting. I saw it on her shelves and I was like, oh, that sounds good. What did you think? And she was like, oh, I loved it. It was so good. It's a fantasy, and it's a war fantasy by the looks of things. Sierra, Princess of Mead, can barely remember a time when Northmen weren't plundering the shores of her divided homeland. With her intimidating ability to control her enemies' minds and actions, Sierra has managed to keep her people safe, but lately a mysterious crow has been appearing to Sierra, whispering warnings of an even darker threat. Although her clansmen dismiss her visions as superstition, Sierra fears that coming evil will destroy not just Erin, but the entire world. It isn't until Sierra captures Leif, a young Northman leader during his failed siege of Mead, that she discovers she's not the only one who has these prophetic visions. Leif is Sierra's enemy, but together they may be the only ones who can save their world, and as battle grows closer, the alliance born out of necessity starts to become something more. With evil rising around them, they must do what it takes to defend the land they love, even if it means making the greatest sacrifice of all. Ooh, interesting. So, yeah, thanks Ratbag for this one. I appreciate it. So this is now my TBR. It's a little bit more intimidating, but I'm excited. So there will be another TBR a bit later on throughout the month, depending on how this TBR is going, for Spring Flingoween. I think that's what it's called anyway. I think that's what they've called it. And I'm really looking forward to that one. I do love taking part in those readathons because I love that it forces me to pick up thrillers throughout the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm very excited. Let me know in the comments down below if you're taking part in any of the readathons that I'm also taking part in. And let me know if you've read any of these, if you would prioritise any of them. And if you just want to let me know you were here without leaving a comment, just drop a die emoji in the comments. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.